What is going on? Beyond the Break here with a 22 card PSA reveal. PSA finally got back our second order from October that we sent along during their Modern Sports special. Took about, like I said, from October, it took about 6 or 7 weeks. It does seem like PSA is slowing down from a time frame standpoint. I just think they're running a lot of specials these last couple of weeks, so maybe they're just getting really caught up with the amount of orders that are being submitted. But yeah, 22 cards, a lot of early 2000 variety of sports, the typical Hall of Famers, All-Star MVP players that we like to submit for grading, refractors, low numbered, short prints, and all that stuff. So without further ado, let's dive into it. So to start things off, we have a 2008 Topps Chrome Albert Pujols Refractor. This got the 10. Happy with this. We had this as a 10 with the white borders all around, and the centering looked great. Yeah, most of the cards that we submitted are from that early 2000 range. So, from a gem rate standpoint, we're shooting for 9s and 10s for all of these. All right, here's a 2004 Tim Duncan Chrome X-Fractor PSA 9. This is number 2150. We were in between a 9 and 10, leaning on the 9 side. I believe there was a small indent here on the left-hand side. Other than that, everything looked great. Centering was awesome. There is one, I think there's also like a X-Fractor line, print line. So super happy with this though. I'll take the 9 for that. Here's another X-Fractors from 2003, Tracy McGrady Bowman Chrome. This is number to 150 as well. We were in between 9 and 10. Centering on this, you can see a little bit thicker on the top than the bottom. Left to right looked good. And I think there was one small white corner there. But other than that, everything looked good. We had this as a 9, and it got the 9. Next up, 2004 Topps Chrome Roy Halladay Refractor. This we had as a 10, and it got the 10. Super pumped about this. Just love this card, especially the old Toronto logo. Hall of Famer, one of the best. As a Phillies fan, he was awesome for the short time he was with the Phillies. The back you can see a little bit thicker on the right and the top, but on the front, I thought reason we had this as a 10 is that was the only concerns there. But again, PSA sometimes just doesn't really take into consideration much from the back standpoint than the front. Obviously, we want the front to be centered up, and that was the case here. So, got the 10. Here's a big card. This is the 2017 Topps Chrome Bryce Harper White Jersey Blue Wave Refractor. This is number 275. We had this as a 10. Especially the darker back, always a bit of a challenge, but we did not see any whitening whatsoever. Centering looked great on the back as well. On the front, no scratches or anything. So we had this as a 10, and we got it. So pretty big hit on our end here. All right, moving along. Here's a 2023 Select Myles Garrett Tie-Dye Prism PSA 10. This is number 225. We had this as a 10. Saw no issues with it at all. Centering looked great, especially from like the waves. It's kind of how you can kind of detect the centering left to right, and then the back. No issues. White corners make that much easier. So this is a Myles Garrett PSA 10. I hope he's on a different team next year. He's definitely on that Hall of Fame trajectory, and I just feel like, unfortunately, the Browns just can't get their stuff together, and I just feel like his talent's being wasted a little bit there. So hopefully he's on a new team next year and on a winning, or at least in a winning organization. All right, here's a nice cool color match. This is an Adrian Peterson 2014 Topps Chrome Purple Jersey, Purple Refractor. We had this as a 9. We were in between a 9 and a 10. It did get the 9, as you can see. Centering looked great. I think there was 1 or 2 scratch marks, if I'm not mistaken, that we were hoping maybe it gets, on the surface here. But obviously, it did not get through PSA. But we'll take the 9 here. Really cool color match. But yeah, got the 9. All right. This was a really random card. This is a Rudy Gay 2007 Bowman Chrome. I think he just announced his retirement, actually. Nice long career. This is the X-Fractor out of 50. So short print. We had this. We were pretty positive this was going to get a 10. Obviously, it did not. And the more I look at it, obviously with the back, the darker corners, darker border, that just makes it even more of a challenge. Starting to look great on the front. I mean, if you want to make the case a little bit thicker on the left than the right. So, top to bottom looks good though, but I do think it has to do a lot more with these corners. If you look real closely, I'm seeing tiny bit of whitening there, tiny like a little bit. So 2 out of 4 corners have a little bit of whitening. I think that's just one too many corners for PSA's liking, so it did get the 9, unfortunately. Next up, this is just Dwight Howard's Bowman Chrome rookie card. This got the 10. We had this as a 10. This is something we wouldn't have sent unless we were pretty positive that it would receive that 10, and it did. I believe I don't even think he's on a team currently, but if it's all done for him, he's definitely a Hall of Famer in my mind. Oops. All right, moving on. We have a 2016 Panini Select Kyrie Irving tie-dye prism. This is the second tie-dye we sent this order. We were in between a 9 and a 10. It did get the 9, as you can see. This is numbered to 18 out of 25. I think centering was great. You can see left to right, top to bottom. It's pretty easy to tell from a centering standpoint. I think the only issue, and if I'm not mistaken, you can kind of even already see the little bit of whitening here, a little bit of corner wear. So you can see down here a little bit more too. So between 9 and 10, not surprised I got the 9 here. Definitely think it's the right grade for this card. Still a cool card, short print. The 2016 selects, those were a nice set there. All right, 2006 Vlad Guerrero X-Fractors is numbered to 250. I had this as a 10. One of those cards I really wouldn't have sent unless I thought I had a really good shot of getting that 10. Nice little color match too, I guess you could say. Centering looked good. You can kind of see with the baseball field outline in the back of the player, but I guess the back too here, darker corners, always makes it a bit of a challenge. So it did get the 9. Yeah, I don't know what they saw, but that's all right. I'll take the 9. I'll take the 9 because we got a 10 on this. This is a 2014 Topps Chrome CC Sabathia Black Refractor. This is numbered out of 100. We had this as a 10. Centering looked great all around. No issues at all. Surface scratches. A lot of these 2014s, it's always centering with these, I have found. Especially if it's on the front. It's either top or bottom, left or right, one or the other. Just for some reason, the centering is always just a little bit off. But back looked good too. No issues with the corners. I believe he is on the ballot this year, so I kind of bought some of his cards as of late because I believe he should be a first ballot Hall of Famer. All right, about halfway through, a little over halfway through, and we're at 50% gem rate. Like I said, pretty happy with that, just due to the fact that the year of cards that we sent, we didn't send any ultra modern cards in this order, so pretty excited so far with the results. Here's 1996 Topps Chrome Gary Payton Season's Best Sticky Fingers. We had this as a 10. I'm not entirely sure what was, obviously, it did not get that 10, so I'm not entirely sure what the issue was. Centering, you can see, looks great. No greening at all. Back, centering looked good in the back. I mean, even the corners. I had this as a 10. It's something that's one of those older cards, so obviously it could have been an easy miss or just, a little bit of wear and tear in the corners. I'm not entirely sure, but, I'll take the 9, I guess. A little bit of a bummer, but it is what it is. Here's another card we had as a 10. This is the Chauncey Billups Refractor from Bowman's Best. looked this over already. Again, I didn't see anything. We had this as a 10, you know, especially with the holes in the card. That could have been a challenge. You know, there could have been some sort of whitening that I missed that made it a little bit of a challenge to, you know, inspect before grading. But I had this as a 10 and unfortunately got the 9. All right. Here's a sweet card. I just love this insert. This is a 2000 Topps Chrome. Manny Ramirez owned the game. Refractor, Titans of the game. This got the 10, so pumped about this. We had this as a 10. Back was flawless. Front, no issues. No surface scratches. We actually have had a couple of these come through. And this was the first one we've ever sent to grade because the other ones always had some sort of blemishing going on with the refractor sets. I don't know if that was just over the years, similar to like the greening. This one was clean though, and we got the 10, so pretty pumped about that. All right, another bigger card of the order. This is the 2003 Finest Albert Pujols Refractor. I just love 2003 Finest. This was my first 10 I got, 2 out of all my gradings I've done of the Finest for that year. We had this as a 10, no issues. You can see, again, just corners are always, you know, just always the biggest issue in my mind are corners, especially with darker backs. You can see a little bit of whitening. Other than that, everything else is spotless. Centering always has a challenge with these Finest because these I guess 2 hexagon are always off-centered. One's usually thicker on the left or the right, or always closer to the top with, so, you know, the classic centering issues. But this one got the 10, and I am so pumped. It's such a cool card. I wish Finest would come back to something like this. Yep, so I got the 10. And for some reason, baseball for that year wasn't numbered. All the refractors from the other sports are numbered, so I'm very interested by that. All right, here's a 2019 Panini Prism Tom Brady Laser Prism. We had it as a 9. I had an outside chance of a 10. Centering looked good. I think just the back is just, you know, classic wear and tear in the corners. A little bit of whitening down there. You can see a little bit of whitening down there. Other than that, it was pretty clean. So we had this between a 9 and 10. I was hoping for a 10, but obviously did not get that. All right, fighting between that 9 and 10. All right, here we go. This is a Brandon Ingram Gold Disco PSA 10. This is numbered 5 out of 10. We had this as a 10 as well. No issues that I found. These 2023 selects are pretty easy to grade in my mind. Again, just from the sheer, you can just look at the kind of from a centering standpoint, and the back, obviously with the whitening in the corners. I already kind of mentioned that a couple times, but the whitening makes it a lot easier. And then the center, you can always tell with these waves, kind of distance between the corners or the edges to the top of the wave. But I had this as a 10. I bought this thing. He was gonna have a big year. Obviously, he's in some trade talks right now. I hope he gets put on a winning team. Maybe the value of this card will go up a bit. He's had a very underrated career in my mind so far. And he's only like 27, 28, so still has some decent amount of years. All right, 4 more cards. Here's a 2005 Topps Chrome Greg Maddux Refractor. This got the 9. I had this as a 10. Centering, you can see, look great. I think, you know, looking more at this, you can see a little bit thicker on the top than the bottom on the back. I guess that's the same case on the front. I wonder if the Maddux should have been slightly up a little bit more. Other than that, I didn't see any other issues. Obviously, no scratching that I saw. Corners look good, so something else I missed that I'm wondering if it has to do with that centering. But it did get the 9, unfortunately. All right. Probably the biggest card of the order, if not tied for the biggest card. Not as big as that one. If you guys saw my last reveal, the Derek Jeter PSA 9 Refractor, I still cannot believe I got that. But yeah, this is probably one of my biggest cards I ever got graded. The Drew Brees Finest, I love my Finest, Refractor, PSA 10. Like I mentioned, baseball is not short print, is not numbered, but football is out of 199. So 81 out of 199. This we were between a 9 and 10, and it got the 10. So super pumped about this. Cool little color match too with the blue and blue. I guess All Finance did that particular year, but just a sweet card, especially him early in his career. I think it's the second or third year of his career, if I'm not mistaken, with the San Diego Chargers at the time. But it did get the 10. Another big card of the order, the Calvin Johnson Bowman Chrome Refractor rookie. Had this as a 10. This was so clean. This was one of my biggest raw card purchases at the time. And I was ecstatic to see, one, it was gradable, and two, it got the 10. So centering, you can see left to right, these red corners all looked spotless. Again, these are all cards, and it's wild to me that these are all cards I have purchased over eBay. I'm telling you, if you buy a lot of cards over time, you will learn to grade, you will learn to evaluate cards, but you also have to understand there's going to be cards that are PSA 10 worthy. People always think you have to buy ultra modern cards just to get those 10s. This order proves that's not the case. A lot of early 2000s, a couple of late 90s, we're getting 10s here, and this is just one of those examples here. So such a sick card. Top 5 receivers in my mind, maybe top 3. Maybe if he played 1 or 2 more years. I wish he played a couple more years, but he retired at the right time, I think. So last card of the order, 2006 Topps Chrome CC Sabathia Black Refractor. This one is actually not numbered to 100. This year they numbered it to 549, which I thought was very odd for a black refractor. But we had this as a 10. Unfortunately, it got the 9. You can make the case argument a little bit thicker on the right than the left. Other than that, I didn't see any other corners or any other issues that I can recall. But unfortunately, it did get the 9. But we hit a lot of cards, a lot of bigger cards here. So as you can see, sent 22 cards in. We got a 50% gem rate. But the biggest win in my mind is that we got nothing under a 9. We sent a lot of these cards. All these cards are, like I showed, early 2000s, couple late 90s, mid 2000s, and sometimes you run into some 6s, some 8s that you just completely miss. I'm super ecstatic and kind of proud of us and how we evaluate these cards, because of not receiving anything below a 9. That's a win in my book. If you guys like the video, please like and subscribe. Trying to grow my channel as always. All these cards are listed on our eBay currently as buy it now with the best offer. Always love working, making out deals. And again, please leave a comment. Love interacting with you guys in the comments section. Always happy to answer any questions or just honestly just interact. Just love responding as best as I can in the comments section. Till next time, peace.